Welcome back. President Biden speaking more today on the U.S. withdrawal from Afghanistan. And, of course, he took the time to blame his predecessor.
The United States will do our part, and we are already working closely with refugee organizations to rebuild a system that was purposefully destroyed by my predecessor.
Scintillating. And a former Navy SEAL posting this blunt message for Biden on taking ownership and on what the president should be telling Americans about Afghanistan.
I made some critical errors. Namely, I underestimated the strength of the Taliban. Americans and our allies are all stranded. And that is my fault. But they will not be stranded for long. We will conduct rapid strike rescue missions until we have recovered and evacuated all our citizens, allies, and friends. Any person that interferes with these operations will be killed.
You know, at the break, Jesse, you were saying that you think you could take him. I don't know about that.
I've said a lot of things in the break, Greg. Never that. That was inspiring, though.
I mean, do you honestly believe that a president would ever say something?
Never.
Because the politicians don't admit anything.
Because politicians could never give their political opponents that kind of ammo.
Right.
And admit that they were wrong. And Joe Biden's been in D.C. his whole life. So he is playing the long game. Mm-hmm. He sees this thing as, listen, November is around the corner, then it's going to be winter. People are going to be thinking about COVID. I'm going to steel myself. I'm not going to get emotional. I'm going to go out there and I'm going to read the teleprompter. And I'm almost going to psychologically convince myself that it's not as bad as it seems. And he thinks he can get through this. I don't think he can get through this. There's a huge disconnect right now between the people and the president, and he's lost it. He's lost control of events, and everybody can see that now. You set a deadline at the 31st, and then he says, we might have to move the deadline. So he sends the CIA director to Kabul to meet with the Taliban to negotiate extending the deadline. Taliban says, screw off. We're not going to extend the deadline, and if you extend the deadline, we'll start firing rounds. And by the way, from now on, we're not going to let any more Afghans reach the airport. Joe Biden says, OK, we're going to keep to the deadline. He's boxed himself in.
Yeah.
There are no good options now. And that's his calculation. He's trying to avoid a Mogadishu. We just heard Jennifer artfully explain that. But that's not the point. Even Adam Schiff left a briefing and said, there's no way we can get everybody out by the deadline. There's thousands that are still going to be trapped. And Politico reports said Americans are routinely denied access to the airport by the Taliban. So it's a catastrophe.
Yeah, so Jessica, this is truly a cluster rhymes with truck. However, I want to steel man Joe Biden to you, and you tell me if there's an answer to this. Everyone seems to have the right answer to this problem, except for the administration. Even the average cab driver goes, he got this backwards. Like, you don't have the troops leave first. You don't abandon the most important airbase. Everybody knows this. So did they already entertain these options and decide, this is the steel man part of it, that this would be the least worst option? That it could actually be worse than this, and they just figured rip the Band-Aid off and get everybody out? And I'm just trying to figure out why they chose this path.
I hope that's what happened. And we have seen a number of people from the Obama administration, even carries over to the Biden administration, who have said that they're really unhappy with what's going on. You have veterans on both sides of the aisle. I mean, if you watch, like, Seth Moulton, for instance, did an interview where he's apoplectic about what's going on and the work that he and the people he commanded put in to end up in this place. Now, I obviously haven't been in any of these rooms, but maybe this is the least bad option. Or someone said that, but we do know that that wasn't what the intelligence community said. That wasn't what people in the military were saying. So there has to be some inner circle that is operating kind of separated from the next layer of the circle. Wow. And that is concerning. And there's something to Jesse's point about what's going to go on, and elections are always the thing that matters here. I think a lot of presidents and a lot of administrations make calculations about foreign policy things where they say, this will blow, it's not here, right? And the way that you can judge whether that's true is if your cab driver knows about it, if the person who is checking you out at a grocery store, normal people. And everybody knows about what's going on right here. And they're asking questions and they're wondering, did it have to be this way? They're not wondering, should we leave? They're wondering, did it have to be this way?
Exactly.
And that's the kind of thing that can stick to you over time.
It's as though, Dagan, he snatched defeat from the jaws of victory. Even in, I mean, it wouldn't be, we could have left and redefined the mission, which is, you know, which is what Jennifer was talking about, which is what makes total sense.
Just like the border.
Yeah.
Biden broke something that was fixed.
Right.
I started talking about this on day one. We went from America first to America last to America over. That this is a president who leads with shame, not strength. He has talked over and over about the system, systemically racist, ugly poisons of the racism in the United States. And we turn around, what do? We kowtow and genuflect and bow down to country after country that hates us. We rejoined the Paris Climate Accord. Why? Did that benefit Americans? No, but we're ashamed of all the fossil fuels that we use. We tried to reopen negotiations about the Iran nuclear deal. At the same time that you're taking a hammer to our energy independence here, and then we've sat back and allowed countries like China to vomit the woke left-wing pablum of the media and these liberals back in our face. Tony Blinken met with in Alaska in March with a Chinese official, and he was lecturing America about our sins. And then Tony Blinken, the Secretary of State, then approaches the UN about having the Human Rights Council lecture us on systemic racism. That's what we are. They are ashamed of America. Rather than being proud, rather than in Jocko Willink's words, may God bless America and may God have mercy on the souls of our enemy, because we will not. Joe Biden is on the run because he's ashamed. You know,
I wonder, Dana, did General Milley's, take on white rage, is that going to help him deal with the Taliban?
It is not.
I don't think so.
I can answer that one. General Keane said something on air about a week ago. He said that his entire career, President Biden has been relentlessly stubborn. And so that's one of the reasons why he would never say what Jocko was suggesting. But there is one precedent of something that it was a very hard thing to do and to bring to the American people, and it's extremely unpopular, and eventually it worked. And that was when President Bush did the surge. I mean, talk about unpopular, to say, like, oh, actually, we've had problems, we've made mistakes, and we need to send more troops in. And not even the cabinet was like, oh, no, we're not. And it took several months, weeks, to a couple of months for President Bush and General Petraeus to convince the National Security Council that this was the right thing to do. Eventually, it ends up that it was the right thing to do. So there is a way to do this. And the other thing is, I do think Americans understand risk. And they can handle risk, they can handle the truth. So if there were to be something like what Jocko suggests, which is we're going in there and we're going to get our people, if you say there might be some casualties, and we're going to do everything we can to make sure that doesn't happen, I just want to prepare you for what could happen. Americans can accept that. But I think what they can't accept is this, and I think you see it in the numbers. The USA Today poll that came out today, the Suffolk poll, has the president at 41% approval total. Only 32% of independents approve of the job he's doing. That number has dropped by 30 points in just the past few months. And I think that, that it's only Tuesday. I imagine he'll be in the 30s by the weekend.
Oh, there you go. Glad they buried that laptop story, eh?
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.